Yeah. Welcome to another fun, exciting edition right here of This Week in Pop Culture. My name is Ross Andy, but first, some quick and breaking news, and that is The Undertaker is endorsing The Rock for president. Yeah, baby. Hope that really does happen. Second, I wasn't surprised when Daft Punk actually retired. They retired 2 years ago. Showtime has a documentary of it. I suggest you guys go check that out because actually they retired 2 years ago. Sorry, I was in shock. Next, Blade being a PG-13 movie. No offense, guys. Kind of get over it. They're under Marvel. Next, while the internet trolled their own Spider-Man title, Sony Marvel finally gave us the Spider-Man title, and it'll be coming out Christmas release date. It is called No Way Home. And last, the Giant has returned to WCW. Yes, I did go there. Paul White, aka The Big Show, called it just that. All this and more here on This Week in Pop Culture. Guys, don't forget to follow, like, love, subscribe to us, and don't forget to check out our merch page going to artistclub.ninja. Guys, we are This Week in Pop Culture. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the crew. With me always is Mr. Michael Burgi.
What up, guys and gal?
Right below me is the lovely Mrs. Leslie Fry.
Mrs. Leslie, but okay.
Yes.
Mrs. Fry is my grandma, but that's okay. I'm good.
All right. Ooh. And the man with 1,001 mouths, Mr. Michael Mayhem.
Join me on my campaign as we go for less is more, and Burgie needs a job. A full job.
I got too many jobs, man.
You know?
GameStop
That's a
is
lot.
enough. So let's start with the first topic for the night, and that is because the fact that we can't just get enough of Justice League, but it seems like Zack Snyder is not taking a paycheck for the Justice League. With Zack Snyder's Justice League less than a month away from debuting for HBO Max, Zack Snyder has confirmed that he has not received a paycheck, and to my opinion, he's putting his money where his mouth is and actually showing you guys an amazing movie. The more and more I keep hearing about stuff like this does make me want to go watch Justice League, because when directors put their money where the work is, normally the projects will go well. Mayhem, let's start with you. How do you feel about Snyder not taking a cut of the paycheck?
Where was this energy when the movie first came out?
Right?
How about that?
That kind of diminished due to personal family reasons.
Where was it? And then even still, okay, fine.
Okay.
Family reasons. When the DVD came out, where was this energy?
Right. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
No energy for Mayhem. He's off the
No
show.
energy, he's off. God,
Well, I guess I'm canceled. Listen. Listen, I am not amused by this. I'm not. Everybody's hoping that this will be a great movie. Guess what? They're rebooting Batman. They're rebooting Superman.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what they're gonna do with Wonder Woman more than likely. Aquaman is in the wind. This is a rat. This was a disaster. They handled this so wrong. Sure, he's putting his money where his mouth is. What does that even mean? Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and go see it. I'm not amused by it. I'm not saying don't ask me nothing about it. It's trash. Trash. Basura.
Leslie, how do you feel that Zack Snyder has openly said that he has not received the paycheck? You working with certain directors and other people, do you feel like he's, is putting his money where his mouth is, and this is going to be a good movie, or you just don't buy it?
Listen, all the buzz is going on around his cut of everything. This is a marketing ploy. Simple, plain and simple. Who cares that he didn't take a paycheck? I don't even care. The thing is that the movie has been booty for a long time, and it's just these are all things to get people to go and enjoy it. We're going to watch it anyway, regardless. And then we're probably going to tear it apart like we always do. But the thing is that I feel they keep us, bound with this whole Snyder cut and then what you're getting or what Whedon produced. Who cares? Who cares? I am just, let's just get it over with. Let's see what it is that he did. And then based on what we heard about him not taking a paycheck, then we'll see. And then I'll decide if I'm going to like it or not.
Right. The next thing we'll see is the Josh Whedon cut after this nonsense as well too, and the cast coming back. Bergie, take it away with all of this.
So he's not getting a paycheck. Did he not get one in the beginning? Because he had to sign a paycheck then. So he's now fulfilling his obligation. So that's what I look at it is you were hired to do a job. Yes, you had a family, the death in the family, your daughter committed suicide. I feel very sorry for you. You had to deal with that crap. You had to step away from the project. DC gave it to a Marvel director who, torpedoed it. But you got paid. You had something there for it. So now you're coming back to finish your initial, idea, your vision of it, but you still got paid already. So you're not working for free. You already collected a paycheck 3 years ago on it. So now you're working to show them, hey, I could produce a good movie because you're hoping for the next movie they might hand you. Maybe if they do decide to do a reboot of Justice League, or you knock this out of the park, maybe you get to be the head guy with Jim Lee, and you're doing something with DC and helping their movie franchise or the television franchise or something. That's all he's doing. This is a ploy for him to keep himself employed and prove to everyone, I have a vision. It's going to be good. I hope it's good, but don't tell me he didn't get paid. He got a paycheck. He got a paycheck before. He's now just fulfilling his obligation in his contract. That's all it is.
Right. I mean, look, yes, you're absolutely right. He did get paid in the very beginning. He probably isn't getting paid. I mean, HBO did fork over a lot of money just to get this whole thing done. And to be honest, the only person who's probably going to reek in this reward will hopefully be HBO Max, and hopefully the fans will appreciate this. But Leslie is right. Just like the first movie, we're going to butcher this like there's no tomorrow, and we'll have no problem butchering this movie, or neither will you guys either, too. But here's something we don't know will get butchered or not, and that is hopefully this live action series of Twisted Metal. I'm excited like anyone you is, especially someone who's been into the franchise back in PlayStation 1. Yes, we've heard the rumors over and over again after so many years, and finally a TV-based show on PlayStation's Twisted Metal franchise will be in develops. But nowhere just yet of who's picking it up and, who's going to play the lovely characters that we have grown to love. Granted, let's start with Leslie first. Do you see the fear like the same way I do, is the fact that you're taking this murder-filled version of every, get out of prison free card kind of thing we've seen time and time again, yet we're getting the first version of it, and this is Twisted Metal. Are you hoping that this doesn't become just like the next DC movie, like hot trash, or you have high hopes for this? Exactly what I thought. Mayhem, let's go with you.
Oh my goodness. So really quickly, I just want to say that I am kind of excited to see who picks it up, and from there, whoever picks it up will kind of lead whether or not I'm really interested in. I think it'd be dope. It'll be a dope concept. However, it's Twisted Metal. It's really dark. It's really dark, and we need some great writers. And the fact that it hasn't been picked up yet, I think the most important question is, and take me out for this one. Take me out of the shot for this one.
Why?
Take me out because I have a question.
You have a question? Yeah, go ahead.
I think we all can agree. Who the hell is listening to our show? We need our check. Seriously, we talked about this, 2 weeks ago?
We talked about this. Yes, we did.
We talked about this 2 weeks ago. Give me my check, okay? Give me my check. Give Les her check. Give Birds the check. Give me Hash's check. You know what I'm saying?
We'll split his check.
Here's my thing about it. I just don't know how they're going to conceptualize it, because it is so dark. It is so different. And we want something. The thing that we loved about Twisted Metal was the game itself, the gameplay itself. So sometimes when they do that, when they try to translate a game into a movie, it's just not successful. It just isn't. And I don't know how they're going to do this. And they haven't been showing me anything that I can say, oh, I can see that happening, or yeah, I think that they could do it right. So I'm not convinced that it's going to translate over well and that it's going to be good. I think that they're going to just kind of minimalize it, and it's going to be a big joke.
Yes, Racer, start your engine as if you just played Grand Theft Auto. So how do you go from these like how do you build like these characters? I feel like you spend like the first season alone building these characters up. How does the main villain and character, and to be honest, does Rob Zombie and Paramount 5000 add to the soundtrack as well too? Because those soundtracks were crazy, crazy good.
Yep.
Do you have the original bands coming in to fill in those music gaps? I think it was until Twisted Metal 2 where if you picked up the Gameplay or Gamer Pro magazine, it came with a soundtrack. Bergie, your thoughts on do you think there's a direction to this besides every other movie we've seen where there's a prison base and they have to get like no, how do you destroy a town? How do you destroy a mall? How do you destroy an airport? How do you have a coliseum with fans? That's what it's based on.
Yeah, it's going to be very weird and unique to see how they do that. And I would like to know exactly like what Mayhem was saying earlier, who's listening to our shows, because we talked about half these video games and whatnot on Wednesday, and then IGN and a few others put out basically the same show that we put on Wednesday. We talked about the same video games, and everything, and I'm like, come on. Now I've heard rumors that for the Twisted Metal, they are talking about Will Arnett. Is it Will Arnett? I think to do the character. Like,
yes,
Will Arnett? Really? He's supposed to play a psychotic clown that rides around in an ice cream truck and blows stuff up? Like, right there's a comedy in itself that he's going to
That's exactly what I said.
Like,
that's exactly what I said.
How do you cast him? Like, is Gary Busey not around? Like, seriously, there's no other crazier people in Hollywood that you can pick that could play a psychotic, murderous clown to kill people in a stadium with a rocket launcher on an ice cream truck? Come on. Like, I just I don't know, man. I'm at a complete loss for this. This is something that I think this is going to be a hot dumpster fire unless they get the right directors and the right writers on this. How are they doing this and where are they doing this? Is it going to be like, are we thinking this is real steel, like that type of thing, where it's like robots go to different boxing arenas and maybe they do it where they go to each stadium and it's different things, almost like Mad Max? Maybe that might work if you tweak it a little bit. Otherwise,
or the Jason Statham movie where he was falsely accused in prison. That's the reason why we get Outlaw as one of the characters.
Yeah, and wasn't that movie like Racer or something like that? And it was like the whole race thing with the cars, and they were all death trucks and death cars.
Exactly, so, that was a version of Twisted Metal.
It was done 15 years ago, and it wasn't that good. Now we're going to add an ice cream truck to it.
We had a second version as well too that went straight to DVD/Blu-ray.
They made
three.
Exactly. They made three. I watched them. They got worse as they went on. I always watch those things. I always like to see where a franchise is going to go, how far down the toilet it goes. That one went very far. This is potential for that flush the toilet. I don't know. Like,
right. It's just going to be interesting and weird how they are going to do it. The same, as you said, the same concept that they created 15 years ago, again, based off the video game. And we've seen it out of Mad Max, which was, Mad Max was an inspiration for Twisted Metal. How do you have different scenes and scenarios that were literally you blew up houses, you blew up towns, you blew up malls. They had a scene in an airport. They had a scene of a coliseum. How about, we saw 15 years ago again how they created power-ups. Are they going to use the same concept of power-ups that we saw 15 years ago in the Jason Statham movie to what we see now?
Will Arnett, that's all I'm saying. Like,
that's exactly right. There you go. This is going.
Are you going to hear him
say,
say, "I'm Batman"? He
can
go, "I'm Lego Batman."
Ice cream cone? That's the only thing he's going to kill is a buffet or something. Like, he ain't going to, I can't see him as a psychotic killer. Like, that's just bad.
It's already written for a joke. That's exactly what it is.
I can't see him being close to a 250-pound person who is in a leather jacket costume 24/7 with almost like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, but in a clown costume. That's already laughing jokes to begin with. And he's in an ice cream truck. Granted, we're going to hear the whole entire time, and we're just going to go, just give us back our money because this is just hot trash.
Wow. Wow, is it Thursday? Because the tea is tingling today. Like, wow, you guys are whoa. All right, I got canceled, but you guys are still on. Okay.
No,
It's
no,
early
you just
for
got
us.
a card. You just got a car taken away from you, but we're definitely gonna give it back, especially with this segment here, and that is the Blue Beetle movie. Yes, as numerous false starts has happened, Jamie Reeves' Blue Beetle will finally be going to make his big screen debut, sort of, in a new movie directed by Angel Manuel Soto. The character made his live action debut back in Smallville, an episode centered around Booster Gold. These two characters are frequently found together, and God knows we've heard rumors over and over again that WWE's The Miz wants to play Booster Gold. Now, finally, DC, do something right, cast the man already, figure a good script out for this director, give us something good. Nope, nope. Already got two fails already. But you know what? You know what? Let's start with you. You don't think Blue Beetle's gonna be good? A good movie?
Not in DC's hands.
Continue, continue, continue.
I mean, I have not seen anything from them that shows me that they can actually take this type of content and make it viable. I just haven't seen it yet. So I'm listening to all of this buzz about them taking these characters and putting them in movies and stuff, but they have not shown me anything that makes me want to say, "Oh my God, I want to see this." I don't have confidence in this right now. I really don't. I'm hoping that changes, but right now, I don't see
No.
it coming. I don't.
Right. Mayhem. If you're not playing Booster Gold, who's playing Booster Gold? I mean, not Booster Gold. Sorry, Blue Beetle. Sorry. If you're not playing Blue Beetle, who's playing Blue Beetle?
Just to kind of back off of that, I don't think anybody can make Blue Beetle interesting. They haven't really wrote a good story. Okay, cool. There are a number of people, great actors we don't even know that can definitely fill the role and include and definitely include their kind of spirits and inclusion, definitely representation for Jaime Reyes for sure. But at the same time, like, he's not interesting. So you want to take a non-interesting character, a consistent non-interesting character, kind of like Cyborg, and then give it to DC to kind of Hail Mary this play?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, JV's. Are you putting JV against the pro leagues? Like, what? Willie Beeman, where are you? Like, this is not going anywhere. This is not going. I'm sorry, and I would be interested. I play Injustice too, and I love Blue Beetle, but he's one of the weaker characters for a reason. There's not enough support for him. So unless they come up with a banging story and maybe expand upon a universe where he's in and more less focused on everybody else, it's not going anywhere, fam. I'm sorry to say, it's like Captain Marvel. We all came for Captain Marvel, but everybody else was interesting, including the Skrulls.
Mm-hmm. Including the cats who took.
We do not talk about that cat. We do not talk about that cat. Whatever it is, the Gorgon, whatever it is.
It's almost like their version of Martha took it away.
Right?
I mean, yes, with the hype of Injustice 2, which also Blue Beetle became the second most used character in their Justice League 2 franchise. Are they just picking back from where, yet again, 15 years ago, when Smallville was hot on demand, and yet they never piggybacked off any of the characters, which included an Aquaman, which included a Green Lantern, which included their Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. It seems like DC's back in like the small version of a hot mess of, we can't figure out if this is going to be a TV series or a movie, where we're going to put a TV character in a movie and hope for the best. Let Burgie finish, and then you can then let him go.
All right. So we're taking a character that not a lot of people know of besides the video game. Jaime Reyes is also in Young Justice for season 2, where it was basically off of his main character of the Scarab, and everything. He was supposed to come to Earth, everything. So we're going to take that, make that into a feature-length movie that no one really knows a lot of the backstory. So you got to create all that backstory and then try to get every the fans into it. This screams CW TV series, and at least then you add Booster Gold. You could do some different stuff with it. Then it's something you could get a couple of seasons out of, maybe milk it. Putting it on the big screen, no one's going to care. This is going to just ruin DC's cred. I think the only reason they're doing this is they're trying to jump on, with, a character that they might feel that they could get some inclusion in. That's really about it, because you see what they did with Cyborg with Ray Fisher. Now you need another character, a person of color. This is something for them maybe that they can hang their hat on. Be like, look, we can do something. You're going to be hot trash. This movie is going to fail. It's not going to do well. The only things they do well so far was Batman, Superman somewhat, and then Wonder Woman. And we've seen what they've done with their last few movies. Now you're going to branch out into this. You haven't given us anything that can prove that you guys can sustain a movie franchise more than one movie at all. This is a CW TV series at best, or maybe an HBO Max series. 8 episodes, 3 seasons. Maybe that's about it. It shouldn't be a movie.
Right. So pretty much you're saying it's a hot mess. Leslie, let's continue on you because you had something to say. Do you feel like this is DC trying to add demographic to their product when they keep losing more demographic in the product?
It is exactly what Bergie said. They're filling their quota right now.
Yep.
Let's think about it. They don't have anybody of color in their universe right now after firing Ray Fisher.
Nope.
So now it's like they're all grappling to qualify to put in the big 5, and that's be it Black, Asian, Hispanic, LGBTQ, and Native American. And I haven't even seen that representation yet, which is a whole nother story. So this is actually what they are doing. They're filling that quota. And it's so wrong to go about it in this way. It really is. Because you're going to give us a subpar character that's not interesting just to fill your Latino quota. That's just joke. Oh, God. It's just annoying.
Right. It's like Marvel's attempt with Miles Morales, but at least Miles Morales has a stronger character compared to the other characters that DC's ever tried to create. Yeah, Bergie.
But Miles, they didn't go right off into a feature-length movie. They did like a cartoon animated movie, and they've introduced him in the cartoon series. They've built it up, and people know that character because Spider-Man has a rich history. You know it. Blue Beetle, like no one really knows his history besides unless you attach him with Booster Gold or the Justice League as like the B and C team. He doesn't have a main lead. Where's his lead comic? There are none. And are you introducing the person that played Blue Beetle beforehand? How are you introducing it? You went right to a person of color, Latino. They're trying to get their demographic up. DC is just trash right now. Like, I'm a huge DC fan. I love Superman. But, man, you're making me not want to love you guys, and I'm sticking with the Marvel bandwagon right now. Seriously.
And also just to continue on Wednesday on The Take, I'm going to tell you why Superman 23 is going to be just as hot trash if they don't get the right person. And I love J.J. Abrams for a reason, but trust me, he does not finish a franchise very well. We'll go to that in just a minute. But you know what's really great and does have a great franchise, and that is going to artistclub.ninja. Going to get your awesome t-shirts like Artist Club with This Week in Pop Culture, This Week in Toy Culture, The Take, and our favorites, our lovely Cut the Check shirts, which are all located at artistclub.ninja.
Yeah.
Guys, we love Star Wars. We love what Disney has done with continuing on this franchise. Lucasfilms has done some wrong, but have always given us something amazingly good in the process. Now, not too long ago, we did see the Bad Batch trailer, and now we finally got a release date for the Bad Batch franchise, and that'll be May 5th, the Revenge, as everyone likes to say, the Revenge of the Sith. The Bad Batch will continue on their story right in between the Clone Wars and Rebels franchise. Leslie, let's start with you. Are you excited for the Bad Batch series, and especially those, I like to call these lovely little filler movie / episode-esques that are always in between these stuff? Leslie, let's go with it.
Are you kidding? I can't wait. I cannot wait to see this. And they're releasing it the day after the 4th, which is May the 4th be with you day. That's the day, so I'm so excited because there's still like a little hype around that particular time of the year. I can't tell you how excited I am about this. I'm loving how this universe is expanding. I'm loving how they're giving the fans what they want. I'm loving it that they're keeping us in the game. They're keeping us engaged. They're giving us all the storylines, and that they're staying close to the lore that we love so much. I'm all down for it. I cannot wait. Take my money, take my time. Yes. Take my hours. If I got to, binge watch it, I'm all there for this.
Right. Mayhem, your thoughts on the Bad Batch trailers you just saw one more time, and the fact that it's on Revenge of the 5th.
May the 5th be with you. I'm excited as well because, like, for me, even if you're new to the story or you know a little bit about it, they're expanding the universe. So, like, I'm going to be looking and kind of geeking out at what they set up in the background, all the head nods and the acknowledgments of other characters we may have heard of before. We may have even read about in the books, and we're like, oh my God, they dropped that for a reason. They might be coming. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, it's going to be a setup. Like, the Bad Batch may only have just this moment, but for what they set up in the universe is going to be phenomenal. So, like Les, I'm joining. I'm going to spend the coin on this one and watch it for sure.
Spend the coin, which will just be released on Disney Plus. Nothing to spend there unless you actually have the app. Bergie, just to throw a little like caution to the not even caution to the wind, but will we see the infamous "Dad, is that you" episodes or a little ongoing thing that we're gonna probably see over and over again? Yes, I know. I like to throw that in.
Can we mute your mic when it comes to that? Like, seriously.
No, never.
We need to make a new shirt. Faja, is that you or something? You know, because I know that you'd be sitting here with that, like, Daddy, you know, and they'd have two clones. I'm excited for this for the simple fact that with this, they're introducing these genetically modified stormtroopers that after the fall of Order 66, these guys went out into the galaxy and were basically bounty hunters. They're trying to make their way in the galaxy. What storylines are they going to touch upon? We know this is going to take place after Order 66. Is it going to play into anything with, you know, Ezra Bridger, with Ahsoka Tano, anything like that? Because they would be around this time, like a couple of years later. How far into the future are they going? I'm intrigued because you're getting Echo, you're getting, you know, all these guys. Like, this is going to be a great storyline. This is something Dave Filoni is going to continue with the story. And what new characters is he going to introduce? Is he going to drop any nods to previous stuff, movies, maybe new books that are coming out? They might introduce some new characters that maybe we get some background history and we have to go read a book that could be based on something. Filoni is phenomenal at this. Disney is doing it right. DC, take a page out of their book. Like, seriously, like, steal their playbook. You guys aren't doing anything. These guys are crushing you right now. You need to get on board.
What are you talking about? I feel like Marvel has stolen from DC now, compared to DC always having strong animated series, and it seems like Marvel's going. You know, I like to say Marvel's catching up to the anime.
Marvel hasn't caught up with the animation movies or the TV shows yet. This is Disney, Star Wars, Disney. They're on a whole other level. DC cartoon animation and their movies, they're better than the movie franchises, and they are absolutely things of works of art. Marvel needs some catching up with that, but they're getting there. Some of their new animation coming out, some of this stuff is doing. Disney's going to pump the money in, which is going to help them make some better stuff. But they're focused on feature-length films, not cartoons yet. But wait, when they find that they can make some money on that and toy lines, they'll do it. They will do it.
I don't work for Marvel, but I think also they're paving their own way. You know what I'm saying? Instead of doing it like everybody else is, they're doing like, oh yeah, we're supposed to do animation. We'll work on live action series. Who's killing us in that right now?
Yeah, right. Definitely. There is no comparison in the entertainment quality that Marvel is providing compared to DC.
Right.
And look at what they're throwing in the hat now with the feature-length, you know, TV shows, where they got big names, not just a no name that we were like, oh, hopefully they'll play a good character. No, you brought Elizabeth Olsen in to play Wanda, Paul Bettany. You got, you know, Catherine Hahn. You've got big names already starring in this, and you got us hooked on it, and you're continuing the storylines that we've wondered about.
Right.
They're going to destroy DC in the TV realm now.
And that's important. That's important that you said that, because what we do know about that universe is that they actually have fans creating that content. Mm-hmm. This is the missing component at DC, and we've said this before. That is the missing component, that they don't have any fans creating the content and staying close to the lore, or actually geeking over it like we do, and giving us what the fans are saying. Listen, the fans, I'm a fan. This is what I would want to see. I'm sure all my other fans would talk about it. All my buddies would all want to talk about what we would discuss. They're not having these kind of conversations. What they are thinking about right now is money. And money does not speak right now to people. Yeah. So it might have been when you were able to go into a movie theater and get money off of watching something in a movie theater. But right now, in this world that we live in, you got to give us something good that we can grasp onto and actually watch. through our streaming networks. If you're not giving us good quality and stuff, we will completely write you off and watch something else.
And that's exactly what's happening right there too, because we see it time and time again that Marvel is doing the right thing compared to what DC is. We're gonna create movie characters. Well, we're gonna put the same characters on a TV based format, and guess what? You're still going to watch it. Unlike DC, where we're gonna create the multiverse of I have no idea what character it is and who's based on what and where they're gonna end up. Yeah, Bergie.
You look at, like, we're talking about Bad Batch, and we're seeing what Disney's done. Disney has acquired Marvel. Disney has acquired Star Wars. They have acquired franchises that are, their fan base is rabid, and they're producing great quality with it. They're putting a little extra money in, they're getting the right writers, the right directors, and they're doing this correctly. And look at what we're doing. We're talking weekly about these episodes, weekly about their shows, weekly about future things, characters. There could be a hint of something. We discuss it off here, and then we see something. We're all sharing stuff. We're sending stuff.
Yeah.
Are we doing that about DC? Are we doing that about another movie franchise like Star Trek, Lord of the Rings, any of that stuff? No, we are all in on Star Wars, Disney. Granted, there are some other stuff that's going to come down the line. I think Nickelodeon's going to throw their hat back in there, supposedly doing Avatar and some new stuff. But if they have the original writers and directors back for that, so I have faith in that. It's an animated movie.
No,
I think they can do it right. But we're all in on Disney and Marvel, no matter what they do. They can put out a show that say we're going to have a rabbit in a top hat on a chair, and the Mandalorian might show up, and we're going to tune in, and we will do a 30-minute breakdown of him wearing that hat, and Mayhem will do his all like, we're all in. It doesn't matter what the hell they do. We're in.
Yes.
You judge me.
DC can't put anything in without us going, who's got the Tylenol? Like, it's horrible. We're talking about a cartoon from 4 episodes, Bad Batch. They spawned their own cartoon series that could last at least 2-3 seasons. How many more characters are they going to introduce? How much more of that lore are they going to do that we're wondering about and curious about? Seriously, Marvel is just printing money right now. It's all it is. It's all
Disney
it is.
Disney's
DC is like
Disney's printing the money and just Disney's just printing money and making it rain. And we're going, we're going to give you what you want, ladies and gentlemen. While, as everyone just said, DC for once listen to us. Granted, we're happy you're going to give us Earth 23's Superman finally. Yes, granted, but please don't mess it up. Anywho, speaking
for that stimulus check, Marvel's like, now we're going to go out and make our own money, fam.
And you have to think about that. That's how we end every comment about DC. Please don't mess it up.
Right. Speaking of Marvel and the rated R series, it seems like Marvel is only going to stick to Deadpool 3, which is going to be promised as a rated R franchise. And that is the only thing and this is the only weird part. Granted that Disney is trying to get more and more into the R-rated features and things like that. It seems that Marvel has said it once and time again, and probably their only movie to finish off the Deadpool franchise is that Deadpool 3 is going to be a rated R movie. Guys, have you guys seen Deadpool 2 where it was supposed to be kid friendly and they made a PG-13 version of it and it was very Christmassy? It was very Do you feel like and granted this was Ryan Reynolds' attempt to make a PG-13 version of it and made us laugh just as harder. The fact that he tried to make a movie. Does Deadpool as PG-13 as rated R as he is, does he work as PG-13 for later down the line, or is just like DC Marvel is still trying to like?
I think this was a very good ploy, and I know I'm skipping ahead of Leslie, but I apologize, Les.
No, go ahead.
I think this is a very good ploy because I think they were talking about making Deadpool possibly PG-13 from since then, just to see if it works. And because riding off the success of Deadpool 2, they were like, all right, let's try it and see what works. And yeah, we enjoyed the movie, but I think it's a fair conclusion for everybody to be like, Deadpool doesn't need to be PG-13.
No.
You need to parent your child better if you're going to allow your child to watch that movie. You get a better job. But at the same time, look how much money they made from it. It could have been a total loss. It could have been a total wash. And they're like, we're going to try this thing, see how it works out. And it's like, we're making some buku bucks on it. So I think if ever they decided to make Deadpool PG-13 again, it would hurt them, but not as much. But at least they have that option to kind of do it. I don't think it's going to go that route, honestly. And I think it should stay that route. rated R, is what I'm saying, and any character like him, because that's what makes his character. And Ryan, you must have gotten a hella check, so shout out to you, sir. Like, you made a PG-13 movie about the film you made and still made money off of it.
Still made with only a Blu-ray release made more money. Wasn't it?
No.
Oh, it was a short release.
So
yeah, go ahead, Bridget.
I don't want to skip, but he only did it because he wanted to do a donation to F Cancer, his foundation. So he said they've been forcing him they want to make him do it for, making PG-13. He's like, no, Deadpool is not a PG-13. And he's like, fine, I'll do it. This is the story that I have in mind. And they went, okay. And he goes, and I want every, a portion of every movie, whether it's DVD, Blu-ray, or the theater, had to go to to F Cancer, which is his cancer fund that he has. So that's why they did the movie for PG-13. It did well in the movie theater. I think it grossed like another 60 million or something. Didn't do phenomenal, but it was only like a limited release, like 3-4 weeks or so. I went and saw it just because they added Fred Savage back to it, and they went with the Princess Bride, but they had him doing the Princess Bride version of it, which was hilarious. It was great. They did cut out some of the swears, a little bit of the violence, which still wasn't bad. I think they'll do with him in the new series, if any new movies he does, whatever movie he jumps into will be PG-13. If they do strictly a Deadpool alone movie, it's rated R. They're going to do that because they're not going to make Spider-Man rated R if he jumps in, because that would hurt them, because Spidey has always been, PG for the fans and the family. But if he's in it, they're going to make him PG-13. They might censor something. If he says something, they'll bleep it out in the air, and he'll look around like, did I just get censored? You know he's going to do something. That's just Ryan Reynolds. He'll break the fourth wall, and Spider-Man's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, what are you doing? It's going to happen, and it's going to be hilarious, and we're going to pay for it.
Yeah, that's pretty true, because in the realm of cursing and where it comes to rating system, they have to curse 4 times in it to stay PG-13. If he says one word twice, it's an automatic R, which is kind of crazy. So you can see him use the curse words and then flush it out. As far as the blood and gore, we've seen it with PG-13 movies where that can easily be changed and not have the blood splatter and stuff like that, which is very simple. But Leslie, Deadpool works as a rated R movie, right?
Absolutely.
Or does he fit in the scene?
Absolutely. And I didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay.
And by the way, Mayhem, is that a Kylo Ren helmet in the back of your...
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Thank you for paying attention.
Yes, welcome. I am paying attention. Yeah, my eye went directly to that. Anyway, as well as the bottles in the back. Anyway, so I say this. There are some, and I think that Disney has to come to the revelation that, and the realization that there are some characters that they cannot make cute, pretty, pink, with unicorns. It's just not going to happen. This character is definitely best as R. He is that raunchy. I don't know how you can make it anything else. And I say that too for anything else that they're going to be creating a film for. We were discussing, Blade in particular. These are dark characters that are violent and gritty, and to remove that component out of these characters is not, we probably will go see it, but it's just not going to be the same. It's not going to be, I don't know how they're going to write it. They are smart writers. I just don't know how they're going to write it where they're walking the line of being in between PG-13, PG, and R. So yes. It's very, however they do it, they have to be very clever about it. Now, there's a lot of stuff that we watch on TV that's violent, and we don't see blood splatter, and we don't see everything excessive. Yeah, we don't see it. I just don't know if that goes well for a Deadpool or a Blade or anybody else like that. And I did say that I think that Disney is going to surprise you and come with something that's a little bit more adult, like a streaming network that's more for adult content. And I said it, and I hope it happens. And when that happens, y'all give me my check.
Well, they already used Hulu for it as well, too. Yep. But right before we get into that little process as well, too, and that is fans are currently outraged the fact that Blade is not going to be rated R. Kevin Feige announced not too long ago that they are only going to have Deadpool 3 be the rated R franchise, while Blade is going to be their PG-13 family friendly rating. Granted, Mayhem and I have discussed this as well too. Blade has sort of been kind of like a borderline PG-13 movie anyway too, but fans want the R that was originally for the original first three Blade movies. And granted, if you saw the fourth one, I mean the third one, they could just tossed it out and just made it whatever. And especially the movie series after that as well too. Leslie, let's start with you. Are you okay with Blade being PG-13, or does he really need an R rating, especially with the blood and the violence and the vampirism and things like that?
You said it, blood. What is he? He's a vampire.
So
Exactly. So I've been watching reruns of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, for a couple of months now. I'm doing it with some of my coworkers, and I realize how corny it is without seeing the blood, without seeing, and it's for TV, but it's
Right.
meant to be kitschy like that, and a little bit campy. So in that sense, it works. But Blade is not that type of a character. The man has a dark origin. He has an urge. He has a thirst for blood. I just don't know how they're going to write it without putting that R rating on it. And I think that we are used to the Wesley Snipes version of it, and so fans are, championing this R rating, and because we're used to that. But like I said before, whoever the writers are that are going to be for this, for Blade, they have to be very clever in walking that line between PG-13 and R. Now, I do think that one of the reasons why they are not making him R is that I think that he is going to cross over into the Spider-Man verse, the Morbius universe. So I think that that's why they want to keep him within that realm of being PG-13.
Okay.
right, you want him to fit in the Spider-Man franchise, and granted, Spider-Man is a PG franchise, and granted, we talked about Deadpool being the same exact way. It kind of will be fitting that if he does end up being in sort of stepping into Spider-Man franchising, that you were okay with his character coming in. Mayhem, you have a lot of thoughts in your brain right there.
So you guys remember a show called Samurai Jack?
Yep.
Yes.
So Samurai Jack got away with Jack killing people. Well, actually not killing people, but mostly dismembering robots. And I believe it was PG-13, if I'm not mistaken, or rated teen. So I think that's what they're kind of going for in a sense. Well, all except for like the last season. Last season was crazy. Go watch it if you haven't. Amazing. But I guess they're gonna kind of like not make vampires robots, but in a sense, vampires are technically dead, and any violence toward a human will be like PG-13, but like violence toward a vampire, well, they're already dead. You can't mutilate a dead body, can
Right.
you?
Yeah,
You
you
know,
can.
like I think that's the kind of line they're gonna go for, and I think. I agree with everybody who says that Blade should be rated R. I definitely 100% agree, but I think the geniuses at Marvel have found a way. And I agree with Leslie, because he's going to be shifting over to the Spider-Man and Morbius universe. They're like, let's clean him up a bit. You got a little blood on your tooth right here. You got a little blood. Let's clean you up. And then that'll be it. And let's not front. The first two vampire Blade movies were classics. From the first scene where he walked in and I can't speak Russian, Titushka, whatever they said, and like in
the club,
and that was a great scene. And then even when he's fighting the guy at the end, he's like, "What the hell?" Like those moments had us in the theater like crazy. I don't speak about the third one, so it'll be interesting to see how Kevin. Yeah, I knew he was coming. I wanted to see how
the music was still dope on the third one.
I'll take
They
your
do
word.
have a soundtrack.
Look,
Yeah,
and granted, Wade Wilson was in it as well too, but everyone missed that point as well too. And granted, we'll still have Triple H trying to body slam Ryan Reynolds, and that's a whole nother thing as well too. Bergie, your thoughts on the whole Blade outrage with the fans and the R rating?
It's definitely going to make it a little bit difficult because he is a vampire and everything like that. If we're trying to stick with a PG-13, but he's going to cross over to Morbius. Morbius is a vampire who goes on a killing spree. So how are you going to keep him on like a PG-13 rating? And you're going to have him jump into this. This leads into a precedent for them if they can produce a good movie where this is like we're going to be like, okay, yeah, I have faith in you guys now for PG-13. I think we will, and I think they have the right writers. But what does that lead to other characters, such as the Punisher, who they now just require the rights to? Are they going to make a movie of that? How do you make him PG-13? Do you shoot a gun and you don't see anybody on screen die, and that's off screen? Like, it's going to be difficult how they're going to rate over their stuff. The fans are definitely going to want this rated R. I think they'll do okay with a PG-13. Remember, there are certain things they can do in PG-13 that does apply with the movie codes, but it's going to be different and see how they're going to do this. We're not going to see the blood rave scene in the first movie. That was a little bit risque, so I know we won't see that.
It was amazing.
Oh, it's fantastic. And the soundtrack for these movies were absolutely amazing. The techno, everything that they did into this was definitely something you pumped out on your car. If you had a decent system in it, you bumped it. I'd like to see what they're going to do. I like the guy that they have to play Blade. I think he's a phenomenal guy. Feels bad for Wesley he's not in it, but I'm sorry, dude. You're a little long in the tooth, per se.
Yeah.
So, but first of all, I have to say, if his hands were tied behind his back, he still is a good ass kicker. So that's all I have to say. The dude can still, that he could do it, and I think he looks good right now. I think he could pull it off. Think about it, Blade. Blade. If you look at Blade as he is drawn and as he is presented in the comics, he's within that age range. Mm-hmm. Gray in his hair, by the way.
Right. Well, we'll see. Yeah.
I was going to say, we obviously we know Wesley Snipes not attached to it yet, or maybe he might be. We don't know. Marvel keeps a lot of stuff hidden, right. And Disney does keep a lot of stuff hidden. Wesley could be out there complaining and whatnot and stuff like that, and he knows he's already in it. He's just doing it to hype up or something. We don't know. Marvel does a lot of cool stuff. So
sooner or later down the line, we're gonna see Blade Expendables, and we'll see Wesley Snipes and him in a version of Blade and Blade, dad versus son. If you want to make fun of this as well, too.
Oh God, here you go with the dad again.
I just threw it in. That's a joke, all right? But that's basically what it is. Or 1 and 2, or more or if they ever do an alternate universe kind of thing. I don't know. Go every
shut his mic off. Thank you.
What's the producer saying, Mayhem?
Right. All right, now, guys, it's about that time that everyone's been waiting for. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, spoilers are ahead, but please still stay. We have visions, and guys, we'll be talking about WandaVision's episode 8, previously on, aka a nod to the X-Men series. And granted, we didn't get a commercial, and we didn't get a crazy intro that we normally do, because, guys, after this, we're only 1 episode away, and just like me, probably like everyone else, if these episodes aren't close to more than an hour long or an hour and a half long, how do you fill in these crazy gaps? We want more answers, and it seems to be that we try to get answers in this one too, where someone tried to be therapists. But anyway, as the first scene started, we go right into Agatha, and she is... Oh, right. I got the wrong one. Anyway, the episode begins in 1973 in Salem, Massachusetts. Yes, right down Burgess neighborhood and everything, too. And what we're looking, it seems to be a Salem witch trial, but the trial of actually witches. Apparently, Agatha has betrayed her coven, and she had started to practice dark magic. Agatha says that she did not break the rules. They just bent to her powers. The surrounding witches around her started chanting. Agatha pleaded with them to teach her the good in the magic. She cries out, and the witches start to do a hex on her, removing her powers. And Agatha now starts pleading to her mother over and over again. Yes, Agatha has a mother. Then the witches use their powers. Agatha apparently reverses her powers, aging the witches. Agatha makes one more plea with her mother, telling her that she can be good. Her mother replies with, "No, you cannot." Agatha's mother is then drained of her powers, and Agatha seems to be strong enough to reverse her own mother's will. She defeats her and takes her pendant, which is around her neck, and flies away. Leslie, let's start with you. what did you think of this reverse Salem witch trials of the witches and Agatha pleading with her mother that she'll be good? And it seems like she's trying to be good, but she kind of isn't being good. Let's start with you.
It's a brooch.
It was a brooch that she took. It was a memento. It was, because that brooch didn't have no power. But I will say something about it, that if you weren't really paying attention to the scene and everything, you would have thought that it was a Salem witch trial until she, they put her on the stake and they magically tied her hands together with energy. Then you knew that it was her coven that was around her. And what she did was she literally sucked the life out of the witches. And one thing that I do know about witches when they practice is that anytime you practice any type of dark magic or any powerful magic, it actually takes life off your years. So one of the reasons why witches look the way that they look, when they look haggard and old with gray hair and everything, it's because they've been practicing magic and it's been taking that energy out of them. So yeah, sorry. I know a lot about witch lore. Anyway, so that scene itself, and her mother saying that she could not be good. We know later down on the line who Agatha is, and I'm not going to disclose that to anybody who's never read about this character. But it's sad to say that she was misunderstood, just like some of the witches that were in Salem at that time. She was misunderstood. And it wasn't that she consumed this or used it or looked at black man. It did bend to her will. Right. And the thing is that I compare Agatha to King Solomon in a sense. Solomon had the ability to actually make demons do whatever he wanted them to do. Mm-hmm. He could. He had the ability to actually control demons. And he was not a bad man. He was one of the wisest kings in the world. He was not a bad man. He did not use them for bad. He used them to build the temple. It was a very interesting thing. So she was thoroughly misunderstood in that situation. It was really a powerful scene to see that. And I felt compassionate towards her because she was literally alone. But I've noticed something, that she's very flat. She does not show any type of emotion. And there's a scene later that we will be discussing that made me know that she has managed to harness this energy within inside her, and that there is an emotional person there.
All right. Well, Mayhem, your thoughts on that lovely little scene of the reverse Salem witch trials?
So this is her anniversary that she keeps talking about, June 2nd. I also noted the powers, right? So really quickly, Agatha's power is purple, right? And on my TV, the witches' coven's all power was blue. And then I remember Doctor Strange's power was orange. And we know Wanda's is red. So we got chaos magic. We are kind of assuming Agatha is at least dark magic. We won't say dark cosmic, just dark magic. So Strange was Strange, like the more conventional used magic. And then what was the witches drawing from? You know what I'm saying?
They were blue. The witches were blue.
Right.
What was the source?
What's the source of their energy?
Because as Marvel Comics says, all magic has a source. What was the source? And I think that may come into play in the next episode, or at least in the movie. You know what I'm saying? That might be for somebody. Because remember, Doctor Strange, he pulls his power from other entities. He's borrowing that power. How in the Doctor Strange movie, there's a book missing, which could be the Dark Home. For call, you know what I'm saying? So like, where do we get this power and how does it come back? I thought it was a very dope scene. I like how she kind of like realized the jig was up. One thing I did notice was a crown on Mom's head. So when I saw the crown on Mom's head, I had to do some digging. And believe it or not, it's actually from a powerful sorceress that's Atlantean. And if so, this could be a nod to maybe
Namor.
Maybe. And that could be where the blue source is coming from. Yeah. So Namor may be coming through. So I thought this was a dope start. Like, I don't think any of us expected. Oh, also, it didn't say WandaVision. There was no intro, which was amazing.
No, there was no
the jig is up. There's no more show. That's all I got to say.
It wasn't. Is it no more show? But Bergie, take that away real quick. Your thoughts of the episode and your take on mother literally trying to take her daughter's life in a way for doing dark magic.
So that's where I think you're a little wrong on that, where you keep saying mother and the daughter thing. Mother in
Ooh.
a witch coven, the mother is the head witch. So it's not her actual physical daughter that they bond to her because she's the head witch. She's the most powerful of them. So that's why they call her mother. It's a sign of respect, that type of stuff.
Virgie's a
So
witch.
no, I've done a little bit like Les has said too, and like, you know,
Hell,
little.
he's from New England.
I'm from New England, man. I got lots of stuff up here. Les, you want to come down here and film some stuff? I'll show you some places that'll curl your toes up here.
I've
There's a
been
lot of
there.
places. There's a lot of places up here. But that's what it is that where that is. I did like how where she basically reversed their power. So they were trying to take her power, maybe her life, and
Mhm.
she was like she said, it bent to me. So she flipped it around on them, like, no, I'm gonna take your life, your energy, your life source. And you can see how the difference was. And then she got more powerful as she was sucking them in. She literally drained them of their life force. She snapped free of it. She went after the mother. I did notice the crown too. I didn't do a little research like Mayhem did. Kudos on that one, Mayhem. I didn't catch that. I saw the crown, but it was like a little bit different. I thought it was a spiritual crown, so it was kind of cool, unique. I did like how she did. You know, she took the brooch and she flew away. You did notice a lot of the same similarities. Way when Wanda flies, she puts her hands down, the power, like she forces herself out. So we're seeing the different styles of magic that they've shown in this, series.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
going to be
Leslie.
really good.
Yeah, Leslie.
I don't think that they were trying to take the power. They were trying to expel it from her. Because if you notice when she was being infused, it was trying to come up, it was welling up in the side of her, like it was trying to come out.
Mhm.
And what ended up happening is that energy within her actually then took over them. So they were trying to expel it, but then it was the most powerful.
Right.
And I honestly do feel that that is her mom. I feel that her mother is the queen of something based on what Mayhem just said. So I do feel that that is her mother. And I do feel that there is some emotional connection to her mother because she took the brooch as a memento.
Right. Anyway, now to our episode, and that is Agatha is seen petting Senior Scratchy. Agatha says yes. She does look shocked to see to see the real us. Wanda asks where are the twins. Agatha mocks Wanda, then talks about her accent coming and going. Wanda now tries to use her powers, but it doesn't work. Agatha uses her magic and binds Wanda and brings her to the center of the room. Agatha says, if you've noticed anything on the walls, especially the relics and everything on there, guys, I guess, you know what? Let's go with Mayhem. Let's start with you. Your thoughts on now. Wanda's in the middle of the room. Agatha has just sort of given her, it's been us the whole entire time. Us. And then she has all these relics where Agatha is controlling this room.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I believe that whole dialogue is made for the viewer and for us who are like dissecting it part by part, and it kind of throw us away. Kind of like how they did, like, is it Reed Richards we're going to see as the aerospace engineer, or,
Right.
So like she does seem surprised to see us, right? Maybe us could be witches. We don't know if Senior Scratchy is Mephisto. Senior Scratchy could be her familiar. We don't know because Senior Scratchy, the rabbit, hasn't been uncovered, honestly. So then there's that. But then what I love about this is Agatha is taking us on a ride. Agatha, like the acting we're about to see right now is pure genius, and it makes so much sense. And all this time she's kind of also giving us hints like, you didn't see all the runes and stuff around us. She's not talking to Agatha, she's talking to us, the reader. Well, the viewer, excuse me.
The viewer.
Yes. So then the runes obviously is like, but I thought you were a witch. Why don't you know these basic witch things?
Like, yeah, like look at the room. Did you notice this? Did you notice this? Did you notice this? Like literally sight of hand, which is basically done in magic. Like, look at this, but this is actually going on instead. Leslie, do we even talk about the relics in the room or any of the signs,
I,
especially in witch lore?
I think it is significant because I think that Wanda is clueless about her powers. She doesn't really know what the source is. And I think that this is what perplexes Agatha because she's like, why didn't you pay attention to the fact that you can't get out of here because of ruins? Because Wanda never cast ruins. She was a natural. And I do believe too that line she says is she's surprised to see us. I'm going to tell you, but I believe that their energies, whatever it be, the chaos energy and whatever energy is in Agatha, they all know each other. They come.
Okay.
We talked about the fact that they come from a source. It's a source that they all come from each other. There might be a group of them, and she can't figure out why she can't recognize her source when they all come from the same place.
Okay.
Virgie, your thoughts on that whole room and everything on the wall, and Agatha's lovely little speech, especially when it comes to manipulating mutation.
That was unique that she was so she basically she's grilling her like she was a perp that was in a detective, like in a jail cell. Like she was grilling her to figure out if she knew what she was doing because she didn't see the ruins. She didn't know that. We know Wanda. We know that she was created from Infinity Stone, and that's how she got her powers. We know if they're going through Marvel, she's a mutant, but in this, she's not a mutant. She's created from the Infinity Stones.
The Mind
So
Stone.
we know there's a lot of different there for how, but she just does her power based off of her emotions. You see, when she gets angry, she gets more powerful. She does different things.
Taking the cicada, turning it into a bird, and then taking it back, and now throwing it to Senior Scratchy, and you see him chomping it away.
But that's what we see Agatha, because she knows magic and she knows how to do the incantation to do that. Wanda just does it because it's like, I want to change that, and it's done. She doesn't know how to do it. Like, her magic is not well honed as Agatha is. So Agatha can do stuff, but she only has a certain limited base. Where now you see that Wanda, the hex, everything. So it's a little bit different the way she runs her power, and I think she's taunting her in a way to see what she can do. So
yeah, yes, Leslie.
The fact that Agatha is using incantations, and she said, I studied hours to learn these incantations, and how is it that you're doing it without having incantations?
Yes.
So this is the thing, is that Wanda could create her own reality. She could just speak it into being, whereas most witches have to do incantations. They have to do it. You have to either learn it or they have to write their own. And that's what she's complexed by. She's confused by.
I think you guys are focusing on the wrong thing.
Yes, we are. Well, we couldn't, because we forget that she sat there, she manipulated an item and talked about the manipulation of mutation.
Senior Scratchy is the good cop. Okay. And
if you think about it, the silent one is. And yes, and that's where it starts, because Agatha is now playing detective and takes Wanda sort of down memory lane. It opens up a brand new door, and that door is where she last sees her family and the Stark bomb. We'll have one person take this scene away. Let's go with Leslie. Let's talk about this scene in general. Let's take it from beginning into the end, and it ends with Stark bomb and what Agatha says to Wanda towards the end of that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I called this, by the way, the reason why she is watching all of these old TV episodes, because we do know that if you live in a country like Russia, you don't get our sitcoms until 20, 30 years down the road. So they watching old sitcoms thinking it's new stuff. So I'm telling you that I did that. Her ability to speak English, because she really so much wanted to live into that world, is why she's learned to love those kind of things, and that she's creating that energy and creating that that environment for herself. This scene was very emotional to me, and because it's dealing with loss, and it's dealing with your first loss. Your first loss is your first loss of a parent, and the fact that it affects you as a child, regardless of how you lose them. This is what happened in this sense. You have this beautiful family, even though there's all this chaos going on outside. There's war going outside. There's something going on, in the streets. And yet you have this, it's like a fortress of solitude of a family just sitting down for an evening and watching a sitcom and taking their mind out of what is going on in the world outside. It was a beautiful moment. It was a beautiful moment with her brother. It was just beautiful. And then they're sitting there, and all of a sudden there's just like an instant
Yeah.
snap, and everything is gone. Her whole world has changed. And that's, if you think about it, similar to everything that's happened to Wanda up until this point. That within the snap of a finger, her whole world has changed, literally. So this scenario of her living, being there, and what I thought was very interesting right here is the fact that that bomb was there, and that we knew it was a Stark bomb, but she was, I would have to say, she totally did not deal with the reality there. She did not deal with the reality. Most children would be crying. Most children would be terrified. Her and her brother's reaction to this was so interesting to me, because in a sense, it really was no reaction. Then in that aspect, I knew that she was somebody that did not deal with reality very well. I knew it at that moment, because she was just like, she's quoting the episode that she's watching in the TV that's been destroyed on the side of the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yep.
She says something about how the story is going to end, because it takes her away from the reality of what is really going on there. And in that moment, when she reached out to turn off, literally the bomb was about to explode, and we knew this. When she reached out, right then and there, that child had an innate ability to change her reality. It was, and I'm not going to go into the next scene, but that instant, it showed us something. So her abilities started
actually,
right then and there.
Well, actually, you see her sort of try to reach, and don't forget, in the beginning of that, Agatha made Wanda play out her own scene as if putting in her own scene. But Agatha never let her finish that scene, pulls her out from under, and then says, "How did you do it? How did you create? Did you actually do it?"
Yes,
Because
and
that's never explained.
it's never explained, which is why, and like I said, we've been asking, we're talking about Agatha, asking her, how is she creating this energy without casting any type of magic? Right then and there is the innate ability that this child had. I don't know if she was metahuman at that time, that she became that energy at that time based on everything that happened and what she was exposed to with that Stark bomb being there. But that child at that time changed her reality, and she stopped that bomb. Even if it was something that's just that small, it was the beginning of that energy.
Well, right after that lovely little scene, Agatha pulls her right out, kind of like a detective trying to know more answers, then opens up to that next door, and that is the next door going to Hydra. And she enters it. She plays her innocent self with Loki's scepter into center of the room. Burgie, take the scene away of how this scene starts with her entering the room, how things manifested, and then how things are different from what she sees and what the tape sees.
It was definitely unique because when she entered it, they wanted to see. They said that in the episode, it was like everyone who's entered, no one has survived. They had a feeling this girl is a survivor, and you could see that, like what Les said, like what she survived already. She survived a bombing and things like that. She was a survivor. They might have known this about her. Maybe she had some latent abilities. Maybe they've run tests on her, blood work, whatever, and they sorted off the chart. So they're like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. Let's put her in the room with Loki's scepter. So they put her in there with it, and you could see it looked like there was like some type of an angel or something that came out of the scepter. Was that
Was
magical?
it?
Was it? Well, I don't think it was Loki per se. Nothing like
It
that.
right.
But it definitely looked like something of an angel or some type of like the being that's inside the Mind Stone or whatever it was that came out of it and basically gave her powers. And you can see that the way she was like, she snapped into it and then she passed out. And they're rewatching the tape over and over, and all they see her is just there and then drop. But we see like 20 seconds, 30 seconds of what happened, of how she was able to acquire the power. I think she definitely was, as Les said, a metahuman or somebody of magical powers. She had witch capabilities. She absorbed whatever it was. It maybe it unlocked something in her. That was an infinity stone. Being maybe that close to it with her latent abilities, it unlocked something. So it was interesting to see how they showcased all the abilities. I would have liked if they showed a young Pietro to see how it happened with him, how it reacted with him. But it was definitely interesting to do it. it would have been nice to see what he had for abilities or what it unlocked in him and showed him.
That would have been nice as well too, but then yet again, we still keep forgetting that Agatha put Wanda in this scene. And is it actually the reality that what we saw in Age of Ultron to what we've seen out of Wanda's eyes? And is it actually real? Next, Agatha opens a brand new door. The next door is Wanda's back at the Shield headquarters after the battle with Ultron and the start of her love Vision. Mayhem, take it away.
Okay, I'm gonna end it. All right. So, first of all, I don't understand why they give a superpower being so much slack at the front desk. That kind of like channeled my frustration with dealing with people. It's like, I don't have superpowers, but if I could, are you really gonna tell me you're gonna buzz me in after you go through that? You know who I am?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know what you can't do to me? You can't do anything.
She's not your typical Karen there, buddy. You gotta let her in.
Really?
I'm glad you said it. So 2 lefts and a right. And then she's there in Director Hayward's office. And I think even up until that scene, we're dealing with the front desk and going there. We're kind of
when I go to Hayward's office afterwards, we're just sticking with Shield headquarters on the bed, Malcolm in the Middle episode, and that little talk as well too. Stop jumping ahead, brah. We're on the Malcolm in the reason why Malcolm in the Middle episode happens.
All I'm gonna say is we feel the tension. There's a lot going on. You can tell why Agatha is it's revealed to us that Agatha has been behind the scenes all along. We remember when we heard that voice. We thought it was an actual person. It was Agatha. So it's kind of like revealed like, hey, maybe she's not a bad person after all. And to be honest with you, can I roll back just a little bit? Can I go back to their scenes real quick? Because I feel like they missed out on some important pieces.
What? Like what?
What piece?
Like what do they mean? What do they miss in the Hydra? Real quick.
So real quickly, I believe that Wanda for sure had hex powers, and she changed the probability of the bomb going off. I believe Wanda, after acquiring whatever power, whatever speaking, because it looks like the Scarlet Witch, but it could be anybody. It could be Loki as a female, as he's done in the comics. After acquiring the stone, she then gave her brother powers. Because how would her brother survive?
Okay.
So that's what she became, a cosmic being. You're right, Leslie. She doesn't deal well with reality. So she changes reality. She had hex powers. Now, maybe she changed the probability for Pietro to obviously acquire powers as well. It's possible. But I believe she gave him the power. So that way she wouldn't have to deal with his loss. So that way she wouldn't have to lose him.
All right. Well, speaking of love and lost everything too, let's go with Bergie with this one because Mayhem clearly doesn't want to talk about love and Malcolm in the Middle. Let's talk about the quarters. We'll talk about the Shield headquarters and the battle after Age of Ultron and that little scene, which is completely literally right after Age of Ultron. Go ahead, Bergie.
So where are we going? Where am I talking about? Because I don't want to jump ahead. I don't want to get stopped.
We're on Shield. We're on Shield.
So she's on Shield. She's at the Avengers compound.
She's at the Avengers.
Right. We're in the Avengers compound, so that's it. So I did like how that she is basically telling Agatha where everything is. Like Agatha knows a little bit, but she doesn't know where all this places are and stuff like that. And the rabbit hole that she's going down. I feel like we're watching like a game show of like, this is your life. Like you're watching this type of game show. And when she's sitting there, you see how Vision comes in and sits down. He's watching it, and she's explaining to a sentient being,
who's
a
just
weapon.
Born yesterday.
Yeah, who's just born literally like a couple of days ago. Everything about this and about life and talking about the show and stuff like that. And he wants to know like, oh, is that bad? No, that's not bad. It's a thing. Well, how do you know he's not dead? Oh, it's not that type of show. Like she was explaining to a robot the differences in TV. And you could see that there was a little bit of a connection there, a spark, if you will, with the way the two of them were interacting with each other. And we did see that a little bit in the Civil War movie where we got a little bit more of it.
Yeah,
I think it was an interesting touch where they showed where you could see, I think they both had something there towards it. She was mourning the loss of her brother. He was there, probably the only person in the compound other than maybe like maintenance staff or something. And maybe that's where the love of him came into play. And he had no one else that could talk to
Could
him
talk to.
because you're a powerful person. The other people have like nothing for abilities. They don't get me. They're probably afraid of me. You're not afraid of me because you could dismantle me with the wave of your wrist. So I think that's where they bonded, and we saw the love story that when Harry met Sally type love story that showed up.
Yeah, Leslie, your thoughts on the
So
that scene?
what I could say about that particular scene, and it's something that was very profound for me, is the connection between Wanda and Vision, and the fact that while she was mourning, which is somebody who has suffered through that, you don't feel understood, and nobody would have understood her at that moment. Blowing, she was trying to explain to him the wave of emotion that keeps coming over her, and she keeps trying to come out of it, and the wave knocks her down again. But he said something that was very profound in that moment, and that's where their connection started. He said to her, "Well, what is grief but love persevering?"
Mhm.
And it was so profound. It completely took her out of it. And then she started looking at him in a different way. And there was a part of him that wanted to please her and to bring her out of that grief. So they were both looking for companionship at that time. And that's when they found each other. It was very, very good. Very well done scene. Very heartfelt. And you saw that it was choice. Perfect scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next, Agatha takes her out of that scene, explains love, still trying to explain the love of her vision, we'll say. And next, Agatha opens the next door, and that is what?
I do have to put this moment here because I completely forgot it. But if you all notice something, Agatha wiped a tear from her eye during that
Yeah,
scene.
she did.
Yeah.
Because
Ooh.
Agatha felt love
Felt
at
that
that moment.
love.
Right.
Yes.
So Agatha opens the next door, and that door led to Sword's headquarters, where they had Vision's body locked up in an well, sort of, and Wanda wanting to see Vision. And let's go with the whole scenario, because what we saw in episode 4 was completely not what we saw in this sort of scenario episode, and that is how Wanda enters and exits the room. Leslie, let's start with you first.
So I want to say something because I was discussing this with my husband while we were watching the scene the second time around. I wanted you to understand how cold the director was discussing this dismantling of Vision, and he did not call him he called it it.
Yep.
He
Right.
called it it. His total dismissiveness of this woman's grief. If he knew anything about the love that they had for one another, would he have handled it this way? It was straight business from the beginning, which made me know that this man had intention and that there was something nefarious behind what he was doing. He allowed her to see Vision's body, of course, but I believe that all of that, his dismissiveness of their love, the fact that he did this was provoked. Everything that occurred was provoked. From the minute his first conversation to the minute he allowed her to come into the room and have the discussion about his body and seeing him for the last time, for the minute that they were so dismissive of her grief and the dismantling of the body and making it seem like, well, we can't definitely put this man back together. He's the greatest weapon in the world. He's always known that. He's always known that. But he was provoking something within Wanda. He knew. So, yes, he's evil.
Bergie, your thoughts on the episode, especially when Wanda comes in, going into the office, the way Hayward acted, and literally up until her sort of exit out of the room. Are you shocked of what you saw compared to episode 4?
Oh, most definitely. The way that they edited a scene per se, the way he edited it. But the one thing I want to touch upon is like what Les had said, where he was cold and calculated with what he said. If you listen to his words, where he said that he was the most powerful thing, on the planet, like a weapon and stuff like that, and he didn't want that just in anybody's hand. You can't just bury a weapon, And then if you say that, he told Wanda, you have the power to create life. Or, where he said that. How did he know she has the power to create life? Where did that come from? Like, he's just a general director. You don't know her powers from a hole in the wall and nothing happened, but you said you have the power to create life. Oh, I'm sorry. Or bring somebody online. and then he
Right.
changed it to bring somebody back to life.
To life. Yeah.
Like that, when I saw that, when I heard that, I was like something went off in the head, and I'm like, yo, this mofo isn't who he says he is. He's somebody totally different, and I'm thinking this might be Mephisto, the devil, whatever, something outside it, because he knew what was going on, and he provoked her. He wanted to see what she was going to do. He let her into the room. He wanted to see her grieve, and when she broke the window and dropped down, he was like, nah, let her go. Let's see what she does. I think he was hoping she might have brought him back to life. Like he wanted it right there because he had no way to do it. He did not know how to get him back to life. That's the closest thing he had to an Infinity Stone was her. And he knows it.
Y'all can send my check to Wells Fargo because I did say this, did I not?
Well, we still have two different scenarios. We still forget that Agatha is the one controlling this narrative of sending Wanda into these sort of reruns, we'll say. And everything we've seen from episode 1 to episode 2 and episode 3 have been especially different. Remember, in episode 4, we saw Wanda breaking into SWORD and taking Vision's body. This episode, that's a rerun controlled by Agatha, tells a different narrative. And speaking about that, what?
But I think you're giving Agatha too much credit. Yes, you are giving her too much credit because what she's trying to find out is only the source of this. This is not that she's rewriting the scenario here. What Wanda has not been facing is her own reality. So Wanda, after everything, after she's created this universe, after she's done everything, her mindset is, if I had done this, if I had just taken his body, I would not have had to face the fact that they were dismantling the man I love and that there was no life there. Y'all are taking it too literally.
Are we? Because we forget that all sort of magic and everything can be reversed, and when things get reversed, rewritten.
But
these are
that was Wanda's imaginative, I would say romantic vision or version of what happened when she was watching that scenario. But what we saw, what Agatha walked her through, was the reality of what she experienced, what she actually experienced and made her do what she did.
You have to also consider that if she did break into S.H.I.E.L.D. and she did all that, why was it just really him showing us the video and nobody else confirmed it?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Exactly.
So that he can edit it, So
and I don't think Agatha is controlling her to make her go to that area because she did that on her own. She went there to get the love of her life. She wanted to bury him properly. She wanted to, have a funeral or a memorial.
And we also forget from the first episode, from the Earth episode we saw with Wanda being in Avenger costume, and then her going through the hex again, being in the Avenger costume. We're gonna go on where sooner or later she's not wearing the costume, and that is Wanda then leaves SWORD, opens the letter that was left behind for her by Vision, and she starts driving to Westview because that's where the note leaves her. Wanda heads to her destination, and she ends up at an empty lot where the house is supposed to be. Next, she opens up the letter one more time, and it is the deed that Vision has left for her, which says to grow olden. Yes, a little nod to the movie Up. Wanda starts crying and ignites her powers, building the home in the process and transforming the town. Then we see her rebuilding Vision. Yes, at this point in time, she starts to grow her own man, as some people would love to say. Guys, this seems like a very strong episode of which version at this point in time do we see, because Wanda is now, as we like to say, stark crazy, we'll say. She's not mad as all hell, but has lost all emotion, everything. And in the process of losing somebody, she literally rebuilds and grows her own vision. Mayhem, let's go with you, especially with that little scenario as well, too. Ending it with the build of Vision, and then we got to see the first episode, which is the Dick Van Dyke Show, which goes back to her childhood. Your thoughts on that whole drive to Westview? Was like, wait, what is going on now?
The last two doors were kind of to establish how much of a love she developed for Vision and what she would want to do. We go back to the second door. We all thought she was gonna pop off and just be like, "Give me Vision," pop, 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 pop. But it's not what happened. Even when she broke through the door and there was love shown bursting through the door. If you look at the chaos energy, you see it there. But like she comes back. And there's the deed to an empty lot in which they were going to build a house, build, a home, a sanctuary for them, because that's what they've been trying to do. Just want to be left alone and build happiness. And she's so upset because she's lost everything. She lost her parents, she lost her brother, and she loved the man that she loved. And to the extent she lost who she was. So she builds a house and it comes together and she's like, okay. And then she had a feeling, and that feeling allowed her to totally transfigure the whole town. And she was okay with it because at the end of it, she was able to create a vision. And if you notice, Vision is created in yellow. Her magic is red, but Vision is created in yellow.
Out of the Mind Stone.
Right. So now that kind of confirms that maybe her hex power and her Mind Stone power are connected, but also different. But the fact that she can create somebody, once again, Burgie, how did Hayward know this?
Right.
He told us before we even knew that. We assumed it, but then we also assumed that she brought the body back to life. She animated. She didn't create him. So now she created somebody. And she ended on Dick Van Dyke because that was a very pivotal episode. Because at the end, when in the first door, when she was going with the missile, she was like, this is all a dream. He finds out it's nothing but a dream. And then for her, it doesn't matter anymore. It's because it's her reality.
Leslie, your thoughts on leaving, heading into Westview, and seeing all the townspeople having normal day jobs and everything before Wanda comes into town and goes to her home.
I will tell you something that's very interesting to me that I noticed is that the people in the town did not look very happy. They did not look happy at all. They were looking like they were bored, and they were looking like they were laconic. Miserable. Yeah, it was very, it was something strange about the people of this town. But I always hate to go back to this point right there, but if you've ever experienced a loss like that, then you understand why she did that. And I told you all that she did not have any reaction when her parents were killed. At that moment when she lost everything, that's when it all broke inside of her. That's when she finally cracked. And this is why she finally created her own reality and her own happiness, to the point back to where she remembers her happiness being in the Dick Van Dyke Show. So she had a breakthrough at that time, and not necessarily a breakthrough of reality, but a breakthrough of her own reality, what she wanted to happen. She created what she wanted to happen. So she had that moment right then and there. And it's important that they show that she didn't have any emotion when her parents died. It's important to see all this stuff because it lends to why it was so powerful for her to create her own reality at that moment. It was very sad for me. I literally shed a tear on that one, because if you've lost somebody to that magnitude, a parent or a husband, you can understand why you would want to have that moment back. Right. So it was just a very powerful scene. It really was. It was a good scene.
Yeah. Burgie, your final thoughts on that little scene and everything too, Wanda getting out, and especially the letter left behind, especially that up kind of feel that you got it.
That's where I want to focus on. So 5 years she's been gone. He's been dead 5 years. She comes back to life, basically whoops Thanos' butt up and down the Avengers compound. We see a couple of weeks left. She goes in there. She comes back. She looks surprised that there was a letter on her seat. And there was something. Now, I looked at that and I was like, that wasn't there when she left the car. So now she comes back and that's there. Why? Who put it there? Haywood. I'm pretty sure this dude is something else and he put it there. He led this. He's doing something here. Where they went to, I think Westwood is some type of a magical fault. There's something on that. He knew it. He is playing the long game in a way. He was hoping she was going to crack, maybe use her powers. He was going to be able to get closer with, what we see Vision later and basically come back to life. So I think he planted this and did this because he saw her breaking point was 99.9% there and she was just ready to snap. He gave her that push.
There yet. Right.
Yeah, but that
Set her
explains
up with
everything.
this. Here's a house. Here's a life that. Well, then he's like, here's a house. Here's a life. Here's everything you wanted with him. A family, somewhere to grow old together. The up reference. He goes there, and she just lets out every amount of grief of what, at least a good 15 plus years of losing her family, her brother, the love of her life. Her world is upside down in turmoil. She snapped and let that yellow energy, the mind stone out. She basically created a person, and she did something that he knew that she possibly had the power
She
to do.
could do.
And he wanted something there. So I think this is him pushing it, not Agatha.
Oh, so
Him.
you're thinking
And then
that
Agatha came in
Hayward,
and is like, there's
maybe.
magic somewhere.
Yep, exactly. That's
Are we
what
saying
that's
Senior Scratchy is another version? We'll say. But anyway, Wanda looks around
Yes.
and she
I think
appears to be, you know,
I
we're
think it's Hydra.
well,
Ooh.
whatever we figure, we'll find out in the next episode. So hopefully it's longer
Yeah.
than what we expect because 30 minutes ain't enough to explain what we just went through. Because God forbid, like Marvel needs more than just an hour just for us anyway. Well, anyway, you know, the episode sort of ends. The 50 sitcoms out of the way. Vision is missing again. Well, sort of. And Wanda looks around and she appears to be on a sitcom set. Agatha's in the audience clapping, and then she snaps her fingers and disappears. Yes, nice little snap, little reference there too. Wanda hears the boys and heads outside. Agatha has the twins in leashes. Agatha tells Wanda how dangerous Wanda is, that she's supposed to be a myth, of being capable of spontaneous creation, but she's using her powers to make breakfast for dinner. I'm sorry, I love breakfast for dinner, so I don't know anyone else. I know. If you ever gone to a diner, I'm sorry. If you ever gone to a diner and the fact that you can have breakfast for dinner, I'm sorry, you're having breakfast for dinner. Anywho, Agatha tells Wanda that that the life she created, Vision, the kids, and all this chaos magic, and and that makes you the Scarlet Witch. Now end scene.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, now we finally get Agatha calling her the Scarlet Witch, the character base that she's based on for all the Marvel comic books. Mayhem, let's go with you, especially the wake of everything, waking up in a sitcom and Agatha just it looks like she's about to like destroy the kids.
So the waking of the sitcom is pretty much like letting us know that she's been watching, like we've been watching her, right?
Right.
Kind of comes back to how she's been admitting things. That's dope. But when she snaps her fingers and they're outside and she has both children there, the twins, I'm just like, so they are real? Are they real? Because now we've seen her create Vision.
Right.
So then if she created Vision and he's real, obviously then one of the things we're thinking about is what does Hayward want with that? But then also, is he going to take the twins? Are the twins real? Like if she dispels the reality, will the twins dispel themselves as well? And what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then she calls him a Scarlet Witch, and I was like, yes, because that goes back to me personally. When I saw her merge with the Mind Stone, I saw the Scarlet Witch.
Right, there was the glimpse of the M's symbolizing right there, especially here. A lot of references there, but God.
That's it. Thank you for my TED Talk.
Leslie.
I agree with Mayhem on this one, and that's what I said when she infused with the stone with the Tesseract, is that the Scarlet Witch actually imbued powers upon her, or actually infused, kind of like a Dark Phoenix type of thing. So, and they recognize each other. They really do. I believe that Agatha recognizes them. They're all some kind of powerful being from some kind of planet that they all were one. Maybe they ruled a world or at some point or something like that, and that's why she's saying it. I believe her putting a leash around the boys is to now have like a come to Jesus talk with no, seriously, with Wanda. Like, okay, girl, let me tell you about yourself. Why you've been sitting there making breakfast, for dinner and stuff like that. This is who you really are, and you've been using your power for a less than what you could be using it for, and it is also dangerous in the sense that somebody's going to be coming after you for that particular power. As far as Hayward is concerned, I do believe that it is Hydra. They've been playing the long game. They did not know what happened to her when she touched the Tesseract in the first place, and they have been watching her all along.
Okay. Bergie, your breakfast for dinner, because I'm just as hungry as you are right now. I'll probably see you in 3 hours. But
definitely go for some waffles right now. I'm just saying.
Ooh,
Pizza.
and some chicken.
Right?
yeah, pizza, eggs, bro, eggs. Get them sunny side or scrambled any way you want.
Oh,
But
my gosh.
anyway, yes,
So-
I'm gonna agree as well too. This seems like the rising of their version of Dark Phoenix. Granted, they're probably gonna do a better series out of this than what Fox has done twice.
So one thing I did notice is like Agatha dropped the ball here. You let one of the, according to you, a Scarlet Witch, a myth, a legend, you let her off the hook. You had her trapped. You
Right?
cancel what?
No, I did
Liz?
not. She probably didn't charge her laptop. But go ahead.
Just that laptop probably
Agatha.
just died on her.
Get the why.
Agatha!
Speak of the devil.
Hi, welcome back.
Welcome back.
So what I think what she let her off the chain and she let her off the hook where she took away the runes and took away her power in a way and you let her go. I think now you just angered, according to her, a legend, a myth, a most powerful Scarlet Witch. Now you're going to go toe to toe with her full power. She can create a reality how many miles wide? You can't do anything more than 10 feet in front of you. You really want to go toe to toe with this woman and test your power against her? Like, this is where the only smart thing she has is those two kids, and she knows it. She's not going to let them kids go right now, and I think she's going to do something because we've seen in the trailers and the commercials where Wanda and Vision both are holding hands like, well, let's fight for this, and they fly off. There's something about to happen. There's something stuff with those kids. It's based off of those kids there, Tommy and Billy. It's something there. Like, I'm intrigued to see what she's going to do and how she's dealing with it. But I'm sorry, don't mess with.
But apparently we got to find out because why the final episode.
It's yummy.
Right, the final episode is having next week. I know everyone can't wait. I'm hoping it's not 30 minutes long because I just can't take any of this anymore. I need more explanation. This giant fight, and I'm hoping, as the other three are hoping, that if the fight actually happens, does she actually do what we're all hoping that'll happen? And that is, where their powers combined, do they create the mutant life, and that is spreading their powers throughout the world. But before we get into some theories and everything too, I'm gonna have Bergie take this one away, only this one, and that is, bro, we finally get another post-credits scene, and this is wow. Bergie, take it away.
Did y'all see that boy come in? That's Ultron 2.0. That's what they just did. That's Ultron 2.0. Like, we saw that. That was Ultron. He was all white, like, that gray stuff. And it was funny when they sat there and he was like,
wait, set it up. We go into the thing.
So we go into this thing and you hear Hayward talking and stuff like that. And they've got the drone sitting in like a chamber. And I'm sitting going, why has he still got this drone? Like, what is he trying to do here? Is he going to use this to try to get back into the Hex? Maybe that's his way in. And he's like, we have the power source. And I'm like, what do you mean you have the power? And it like dawned on me, and then they went to it, they turned it on, and you watch this thing, and it goes from head to toe, and I'm like, oh, he has Ultron. Like, my head instantly went Ultron, and he fixed the head. The head was all fixed. It wasn't all crunched in. It was fixed. Like, we just brought Ultron back to life. So now we have that headache.
Ultron, and we brought Vision. They brought Vision back to life. With the body that we saw and everything was Vision.
No, that's Ultron. Because remember, that was Ultron's ultimate body. That was the perfection. That was the, what did he call it? The evolution. So that's it. That was his evolution. He's now alive again. Great. Don't they learn from the comics? Read a comic book, Haywood. Like, what are you doing? And I do still think he's something. I don't think he's Hydra. Maybe he is. He's in the dark side of Hydra. I don't know. But and then when the eyes opened, I just wanted James Spader to speak. I really wanted to hear James Spader's voice, and he better be back for it. He better be back for it.
As we all know, that we're waiting for just like an episode of Dragon Ball Z that's just taking one too many episodes to get to the final fight scene. I guess we'll get to the final fight scene, and that is Scarlet Witch versus Agatha. Vision 1 versus Vision 2, or Vision 1 versus Ultron's ultimate body form that we've all wanted to see in the movie realm. Granted, we'll get in this one. Here's hoping that this is a 1 hour, hour and a half episode that we get to deal with.
That'd be
I'm hoping
awesome.
it's not 30 minutes because it's just way too much to deal with. And who shows up in this final episode? Will the man in the Cape of the Stone show up as has been told time and time again? Will Doctor Strange finally make his appearance to actually take it into the next movie realm? Let's go into some quick theories and everything too, since we do have a good 15 minutes left. Guys, let's go like quick scenarios. What could we see in this next and final episode? Leslie, let's start with you. What do you want to see? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen to the kids? Are we going to see two ultimate fights? Are we going to see the birth of mutation?
I think that would be too much to put in the last chapter. I think what we're going to see is them combining, gathering together to fight this Ultron too. That's
Okay.
what I think. I think that there's going to be, uh, while we were talking about this, I actually had this concept of, the kids being able to create their own reality and actually being grown up, or actually being in full awareness of who they are with their powers. I mean, they're going to have to fight this. So it's going to be either they gather together to do that, or something, because if it's two separate fights going on, two different things going on, it's not going to be that good. Where our attention will be focused elsewhere. But one thing I do know about Marvel is they create a pure line of the bad guy and the good guy, and I think that that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to all gather up. I think they're going to have to fight this new Ultron, and he looks scary.
All right. Well, Mayhem, let's go with you. Are we going to see Agatha turn good for a brief minute after she fights Wanda, having to deal with all sort of Ultron coming into play?
I
And
think
will Mephisto be answered? Sorry, because you are, there's so much.
I think Agatha is good. She just wanted to find out what's going on. I don't think she's actually holding the children hostage to kill Wanda, but to make her listen more and to understand her. And she just took a more direct bad cop kind of way, because if you think about it, the good cop was Monica Rambeau, who was left outside, and we don't know what happened to her, honestly. So with that being said, I think what's going to happen is more than likely the episode 9 will probably start off. Same standoff. Monica comes in, helps Wanda. They're about to go attack other. She's like, hold on, wait. Time out. Yeah. There's more evil forces afoot. I believe West Coast Avengers Vision, right, all white blank suit, is going to come and fight Vision. But I think our cosmic aware Vision, if you would, I was created from the Mind Stone, will take over his body. I think that's what's going to happen, because technically he can't exist without a body in reality. So he's going to exist, and they're going to go fight whoever the big baddies. Let's say it's Nightmare. Let's say it's Mephisto. Here's my problem. I'm going to have to deal with the fact that I believe Billy and Tom are going to have to be sacrificed in order for them to beat whoever the big baddie is. I'm not sure if I'm ready.
Hence the setting into the next Doctor Strange movie. Bergie, how do you think Monica Rambeau fits into? Because granted, we're talking about magic, and Monica resembles the magic of Blue. Or yet again, she's another person who doesn't realize she has powers as well too. Next to Agatha and Wanda, yet again, we think is Agatha as a baddie. Is Agatha playing therapist? Is she trying to actually harness and be like her mother and literally form her own set of witches?
It's curious because I want to know where Phaetro is, as she liked to call him.
Yes.
Phaetro. Yeah. Where's Phaetro? Where's Monica? What happened to her? We haven't seen them yet. And where are all the neighbors? Because when she had a little tit for tat with her on the front steps where she was going against Monica, she had all the witches and the mailman all sitting there staring, looking. Where are they all now? Like, everyone doesn't seem to be there. It was very interesting to see a lot of that scene play out from the episode before to now. And I think we are going to get the team up. I just don't know what team up we're going to get. Is it going to be Billy and Wiccan there going with them to help? And I do believe you are right Mayhem, I think they are going to be the sacrificial lamb per se that's going to be needed to save the town and maybe whatever energy she
everyone's gonna
has or
start.
something. Oh, it's going to be
Everyone's gonna
very
start
tragic.
bawling there.
But if they do that, it's going to ruin the young Avengers that they are setting up for the Phase 4 movie franchise or a TV show or something like that.
But they technically never needed the boys anyway, too. But it'd be a great startup and everything for it. But does it really? I mean, someone's gonna be. Or what if the boys aren't sacrificed, so Monica is sacrificed?
I think Vision.
Monica? No.
I think Vision's the one that's going to sacrifice himself for the love of her.
Yeah.
I think Vision's going to sacrifice himself. He's going to be reabsorbed back into her because she might be missing some energy. She somehow takes him, gets him back. The kids will stay, and that's how something's going to happen. That's what she's going to need to beat Ultron or whatever that is,
or Hayward.
I know. Yeah. We'll never know until that version of Vision or Ultron's ultimate form does open up. And granted, yes, all of us have probably gone back to the comic books to see the white suited version of Ultron, which is current comic books. Yes, there is the two comic books that does with Vision's storyline and with Wanda's story arc as well too, that does talk about the kids, both having boys, but one of them having one boy, one girl. The Monica storyline, which we're all waiting to will probably get picked up in Captain Marvel 2. Oh God! And then fake Pietro coming. Yeah, I know. And then fake Pietro coming in. Granted, having to do with the Scarlet Witch storyline as well too. Yes, being a version of Nightmare. So there's just so much. I mean, if they give us 30 minutes, is that even enough? Is it right? Because we're going through 30 minutes and we went to this one and we're going previously on and we're going, oh my God, they just gave us an X-Men reference. WTF on that one. Yeah. Especially when you open it up. And remember, if you watch X-Men the animated series, their episodes always started with previously on.
Yep.
That was a nod to the animated series. So to say that a birth or a rebirth isn't going to happen, I just want to see like when Harry and Voldemort are fighting and they literally have their powers meet in the center and they exhume all this extra power surrounding them. Will that actually happen as well too? That when their powers meet in the middle, does chaos and whatever Agatha's magic is supposed to be create new life? And we've seen it time and time again that the Hex has reformed people's insides and giving them crazy powers. Remember, Monica went through the Hex not once but twice. Now has powers. Now has the Hex that her mother has. Now who's adding to the extra Hex? There's so much. Yeah, go ahead, Mayhem. You got
no, I'm just trying to figure out where Monica fits in on this, right?
Right.
And here's why. First of all, I'm looking forward to them fleshing out her character and giving her way more story that we'll obviously go back into for Captain Marvel too. But here it is. I don't know my lore for witches, witch covery or Wiccan, whatever it's called. I apologize. But there's an older witch, like the eldest witch. There's the middle-aged witch, and it's like the young witch. The oldest witch would be Agnes. Right. Agnes.
Then you have your middle.
Wanda. And then would Monica, is Monica really the blue power?
Monica
Monica
can be the rebirth of her mother in those powers.
I don't think she's a witch.
I don't think she's a witch. I think she just has access to the power or the source.
She has powers. I think she has access to the cosmic powers in a way.
Right. Blue,
isn't this power that they all harness cosmic in some form or fashion?
All of it is.
So far.
Yes. Hence, all of it is cosmic.
Like the Big Bang.
I say like so far because we got chaos, which is cosmic, and we have dark energy, which we know to be cosmic. The blue is the only one that hasn't been verified, but it seems that way.
That blue was from the Coven also. Remember that blue was from the Coven.
Agreed. So yeah, so it's got to be. I'm not saying it's not powerful. It just hasn't been verified cosmic yet.
Right. And also, you're talking about sacrifice. Could actually Agatha sacrifice herself towards the end? Because remember, she wants to be taught. she may figure out about love, because at the end of the day, Agatha is probably the one person that's never been loved. Remember, everyone has a love complex. Monica loved her mother very much. It's love complex. Loves Vision. Vision loves Wanda. We talk about Wu and Darcy. There is a love story happening in the midst of this. One person
The-
not being loved is
Yeah, they're not gonna
Agatha.
get rid of
No,
Agatha.
I
They're not
I
gonna do
think
that.
I know
Or
where you
Agatha.
said that where you said earlier where she shed a tear, and
Right.
I did see that. I don't know if that was a real tear. I think that was like one of those. Oh,
No,
I
no.
Oh
do.
yeah.
I really think it was one of those sarcastic, like, oh,
Go back and look at
a
it
tear.
again.
If
Go
you go
back and
back,
look
the
at it.
tear,
But
She
tear
was
you,
makes it
actually
here. The tear
yeah,
but
makes
you,
it
she
here.
but
she
you
see
look at the way she's done everything and the way she was explaining everything. She was very
To be
sarcastic.
fair, Bergie.
She was poking her.
To be fair, Bergie,
No.
she's somebody that had to deal with, let's say, killing her mother, even her adopted
Yeah.
mother, and losing her
Right.
cousin.
Yeah.
So how she deals with trauma and sadness may be totally different than Wanda.
And
She's
she's
very
also been reading.
sarcastic.
Right.
And also, she's been reading. She's been alone this whole entire time. She's been around for how many years? So she's the oldest witch who's been alone. So
She's been
granted,
alone.
she's looking for love, and granted, she finds sort of like an equal, but she's trying to develop her powers as well too. How can you do this?
Well,
Explain this
she's
to
not.
yourself.
That's why she was drawn to that power in the first place. She's been looking for. Remember, she does make that comment about the fact that there was something here. I felt it, and I had to
Right.
come here and find out what it was. And she knew because she's been looking for her component forever, and now she found her.
I don't think she came looking to team up. I think she came looking to take the power because she found something more powerful than her. She wants that power. And I think that's what it is. In the beginning, maybe that's what it was. Then she started watching Wanda, seeing what she could do, and now she's like, ooh,
To be fair,
I could
Bergie,
use
I
her.
don't think she.
No, I don't think so.
she can use her.
No,
I think
because
she's been looking
there's
for her.
there's
don't-
times where she's compassionate even in the episodes, and then she becomes a heinous
She
bee
would have killed those
person.
kids.
So
Yes, she would have killed those kids if she was that exact. She's not. I believe that she's just very sarcastic. I believe that she's learning about emotion. I believe exactly what Mayhem said, that she's been alone all the time. And then when she finds something as strong as she is, or has the same type of life force as she is, she had to go look for it because she's been searching all along. But the thing is that she's mad at Wanda for not using it for a better purpose. And
Right.
she's looking at it, it's like, oh my God, this woman is so powerful and
Remember,
she's not using it.
you're
Yes.
gifted.
right, but she's saying you're not
Yes.
using it, but is it for good or for evil? That's the main thing that
I
we
don't-
can't seem to figure out. Because remember, she says it not once but twice. I can be
But-
good.
Here's,
I don't
here's the
think-
thing. Go ahead,
I
man.
don't
I'm
think
sorry.
she would.
And I
No
believe
worries.
that she can. And
I
I
just
believe
wa-
that she can.
I just want to answer your question, Bergie. It's just that I don't think, well, not your question, your statement, and that she's willing to take it as in maliciously cause harm to Wanda because she has an affinity to obviously to practice magic. She's very powerful, hence the dark magic. But she didn't purposely kill the other witches. She didn't take their power. She's not like Mega Man. I kill you. Now your power is mine. Fighting robot. Agatha. No, she wasn't doing that. You know what I'm saying? It just happened. So now she just wants to maybe better learn and control it. And like she's been alone for such a long time. This also makes me very sad because my previous theory that all the women there in the little pool club were
Coven.
all witches.
Mhm.
And it's just like, come on, Bev. Come on, abracadabra or something.
But-
Come on, I need you. Good.
Here's the thing. We all keep saying she's the only one with magic. There's the ancient one. There's all these people. There are other magical people in this. She's going after her because I think she's trauma, grief, and everything, and she thinks she can take her power. You're not going
That
against
could
the
be
ancient
No,
one.
I don't think
Virgie.
so.
No,
I
that
don't
could
think
be a
so.
theory.
I'm done.
That can
I
be a
think-
theory into it because remember, she probably could have walked into there and then the Sorcerer Supreme kicked her out because she felt dark magic. This goes back to Mephisto, as you guys all like to talk about. Dormammu, which goes back to did she go into that realm? And we can go back to the first movie where they go and steal the pages and try to bring Dormammu into reality. But then it comes back to the Time Stone. Remember, they are the keeper of the Time Stone.
Virgie.
I don't think she would go back and start chasing the Time Stone because, granted, they're learning a different type of magic that is a different type of sorcery to defend themselves.
If
She's
she-
not defending herself. she's trying to add to chaos.
If she wanted to take Wanda's power, she could have. She didn't have to wait 9 episodes, let's say, to do so, because she was able to infiltrate the Hex and not be affected. We all thought she was.
She would have taken it. She would have killed her.
Right. She
would've
had
taken
her
it.
handcuffed.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the
She had
room
her
where
handcuffed
she couldn't
all I
in
know
the
is
middle of the room and everything.
Next week when I'm right, I want apologies. All of you.
No,
All
I'm
you.
telling
Yes.
you.
Telling you.
Nah.
We could go through that as well too.
Yep.
But guys, we're towards the end of the show. Guys, if you like what's going on and everything, follow us on our pages. Follow, like, love, share, and subscribe to our Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube pages. You can catch that lovely lady right with quarter of me. You can catch her every now Thursdays now
Thursday
on a show
night.
called Tingly Tea. You can catch her there. You can catch this man right below me every Wednesday on a show called The Take. Yeah, you see Burge and I with him as well too. And you got this man over here with me always on every Tuesday with This Week in Toy Culture as well too. My name is Ross Zandia. Thank you all for watching us. I know there's a lot to take in, a lot to talk about. Guys, one more episode in. We love you all, but please, everyone's answer is right. Everyone's answer could be wrong as well too. We'll never know until we get to episode 9.
He's a scroll.
I know, right? That could be as well too. But guess what? See you all next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.